So my concept for this project is titled Lace with Meaning. It is a women's wear capsule that takes old lace, embroidered linens and vintage home textiles and turns them into fresh, wearable fashion. It's about giving new life to forgotten fabrics, mixing nostalgia with a focus on sustainability. I then moved on to my research of Next as a brand and found that they are incredibly accessible and commercial, but not really reaching a younger audience of style-conscious consumers. So I compared them to some of their biggest high street competitors, which are M&S and ASOS. I found M&S has really strong sustainability goals and they are consistent and transparent with their practices, whereas ASOS are more trend-driven and communicate their eco efforts well. I looked at possible aspirational brands that Next can take inspiration from, these being Reiss and Ralph Lauren. Both brands create elevated basics, timeless, minimal and luxurious. I built an inspiration board from the idea of refined simplicity, soft tailoring and fluid shapes. These images all come from both brands' most recent summer collections. I made my own trend board for spring-summer 2026. I looked at previous summer collections and also emerging new silhouettes, colours and trends in social media, and determined that we should be showcasing more breathable women's wear with linen shirts, embroidery, soft denim features, comfort, stretch and recycled fibres, palettes that lean into soft neutrals, florals, aligning well with romantic lightweight aesthetic. My customer is a young woman around 18 to 25. She loves natural fibres, second-hand pieces and circular fashion. Her style is feminine but not fragile, simple with a touch of edge, and she values versatility and quiet beauty over fast trends. I did some research into practices Next aren't already pursuing that meet the need of the customer, and identified that we could introduce things like garment recycling, take-backs and repairs, the reuse of dead stock, and showing more transparency through QR labels on all garments that trace back where fibres and materials came from, as well as looking at processes that encourage less waste and more creativity, such as draping. So I did some experimentations, starting with the corners of the fabric, shaping directly onto the stand, then adding new centre points to evolve the form naturally. In construction, I focused on sustainable finishing methods. Overlocking and serging to stop fraying and extend garment life, cover seams and twin stitching for strength and flexibility, as well as baby lock finishes for delicate fabrics without bulk. These small details help garments last longer and reduce waste in production. From there, I proceeded to take the draping experimentation further, with digital sketches onto body forms, imagining new shapes and silhouettes. From there, using tracing paper, I imagined other garments to be paired with these experimentations. Zero waste pattern cutting is another process that Next aren't utilising enough, and I explored this through the creation of my half-scale jacket. My colour palette mixes neutrals like sand, ivory and blue with touches of yellow for light and renewal. And materials include jersey, denim, organic cotton voile, and lace for contrast and texture. I drew inspiration from the Swedish Midsummer Parade for the purity of their silhouettes and the natural tones. They include little peeps and hints of colour through their use of subtle floral embroidery. This is something I will be bringing forward into my final lineup. I did an exploration into the use of denim in a feminine way, with mixed media sketches. I looked at how volume can be created using layering and pleating, and the functionality of denim through ties and pockets. Vintage women's sportswear from the 1920s had a femininity mixed with like a masculine structure, which I liked and wanted to bring forward. So there were lots of gathers, pin tucks, mixed with large bows and stiff collars. I then looked at Victorian lace and the fluidity of it, as well as how different motifs and layers can be built upon to create volume and movement. My final lineup has 6 looks, which explore drape, contrast and longevity. Look 2 is the look that I'll be taking forward. I made it out of black jersey, but in manufacture will be a white jersey. The other 5 looks mix denim and lace or sheer layers with structure to show softness and strength. The technical flats I drew show call-outs for any minor detailing on all 6 looks. Overlocking or serging is a method of encasing the raw edges. I use this to prevent fraying on the bows and any unfinished seams within my garment. These ran down the inside of the sleeve. The process of using the overlocker reduced the offcuts and the need for additional finishing steps. This helps save on fabric and reduce waste. Offcuts accounted for in my lay plan were then used to bind all edges of my pattern as well as finish the neckline seam. Cover seam and twin stitching was used to close the back of the garment as long as reinforce the seams of the jersey, yet still allowing the stretch and avoid puckering at the stitching. And here is my final garment on the body form.